Yo, it's Kasura here. We are back with another Reverse 99 video. Finally, I know it's been so long since my last video, and it's been even longer since my last should you pull type of video for any new upcoming Reverse 99 character. This video is mostly about Argus. I know I wasn't able to make a video for Jay or Tuesday, so I will briefly talk about them at the very end after I give my Argus rating. Alright, and as always, we gotta get out the disclaimer that you should always pull for who you like because it will make the game way more enjoyable and you can beat most of the content in the game with any character you like. With that out of the way, let's go ahead and talk about the pros and cons of Argus and talk about who may or may not want to be pulling for her. Let's start off with the pros. After looking at her kit, she is without a doubt the best single target debuffer that we have on the global side of the game so far. At P0, she can provide a plus 45% damage taken and a minus 45% crit defense on the enemy, plus she also has a plus 10 to 25% damage dealt for your entire team. You can have both of these buffs together at the same time with almost 100% uptime if you play her in the right setup. If we add those up, Argus is giving your team a plus 70% damage dealt on the enemy, and again, this is like 100% uptime if you play it right, which is kind of insane at P0. Okay, not to get overly excited here, you are going to have to use Argus's skill a lot, possibly every turn, every 2 turns in order to maintain 100% uptime on that plus 70% damage dealt. So it will cost a lot of action points from Argus. But if you're wondering, what if you don't do that? What if you just are okay with, maybe a little bit of the damage bonus? Well, if you don't want to use her skill that much, then you can opt into a rotation of using her skill every 3 turns instead, which will average out to about 42% damage bonus compared to the plus 70% damage bonus. This is based on a 12-turn battle because 3-starring Limbo is within 12 turns, so all the calculations I did was in with 12 turns. And if you just look at it, 42% damage bonus and only needing to use 1 skill every 3 turns is still really good. Not to mention, Argus also has a dispel on her skills. She can also passively generate Moxie and do follow-up damage, meaning she can do both of those things without using any incantations. Argus is actually kind of insane. However, we have to get to the cons here, and the very first con that I see a lot of people talking about is saying that she is only good in single target, which is kind of true. Depending on the fight, I would agree if there are multiple high priority enemies, she won't be able to debuff all of them. However, I would argue if there is just one boss and a few weak mobs, Argus honestly isn't that bad in that scenario because she will still give a 10 to 25% damage bonus against all the enemies and an extra 15 to 45% bonus damage to the main boss. People also say she's very niche for characters who cast a lot of high level incantations like Marcus and Mercuria, which is true as well. I agree that in order for her to take advantage of her entire kit, she really needs those units that can cast higher incantations, and unfortunately as of right now, I don't think there's a lot of great options to pair with Argus to get the most out of her. Argus is also the type of character to perform better in 4-man teams due to how her Insight 3 works, which takes into account the stars on the incantations you use. So if you are using more incantations, you will activate her Insight 3 passive easier. While we are on the teammates discussion, another small con is even though one of her best teammates is Mercuria, there is an unfortunate overlap in their kits. Both Argus's skill and Mercuria's ult do the same thing, which is de-spelling the enemy. Sure, it's useful if the enemy has a lot of buffs, but I'd rather see a different effect from one of them. The last con is that if you pull for Argus now, you might not have enough pulls for what is coming next. I feel like a majority of the community thinks Argus is a skip because the next true limited unit, Anjo Who, is coming right after her in the next patch. Yeah, I know a lot of people are planning on skipping Argus because they want Anjo Who. I get it. Reverse 99 has a track of making these true limited characters a bit stronger than the normal limited characters, so people FOMO very easily for these very OP characters. So that's the last con. If you pull for Argus, you might not be able to get Anjo Who. Okay, and with that, I have come to my rating of Argus, which is going to be a very high 3.5 out of 5, leaning towards a 4 out of 5. So just a very kind of like overview of how I rate these characters. Characters in the 3.5 range are generally really good characters that become even better in their niches, like how Mercuria, Jay, and Tuesday are all 3.5 and can be an amazing if they are put in the right team or content, just like how Argus becomes the best debuffing option for single target fights. So who do I think should pull for Argus? Well, if you're someone with Marcus and Mercuria, then you could consider getting Argus, because with that team you can actually get to see Argus's full potential in both single target and in AoE. Otherwise, she isn't too high of a priority compared to someone like Anjo who's coming out next patch. Alright, that's going to be it for the Argus pre-release rating. I will be streaming tomorrow when Argus releases, so I'll see you there. Peace.